Right, we are live. Welcome, everyone. We're getting ready to get started here with LaShonda Brown. Hi, LaShonda. It's great to have you today.
Good to be here. Nice to meet you all.
Yes, very excited to get started. So, if you're watching, we're live on LinkedIn. We are live on YouTube as well, and we were supposed to be live on Facebook, but I just got the notification that it might not be working because for some reason we have that issue with live streaming to Facebook. But that's okay. I'll go on there and link everyone to the recording later on. So, please, if you're joining in live, say hi in the chat. Let us know you're watching and where you're watching from, and we will go ahead and get started. So. Excuse me, welcome to Remote Leadership Unleashed, where we explore expert perspectives on hiring, managing, and scaling distributed teams. I'm delighted to have you join us for another episode filled with valuable insights and actionable strategies. But first, Quickly Hire is the fastest way to add vetted freelancers to your team. At Quickly Hire, we understand the importance of assembling top tier talent for your business. Whether you need a developer, a content marketer, designer, virtual assistant, and we have recently added SEO specialists, PPC experts, social media managers. We got project managers, and we're getting ready to add SDRs as well. So reach out, let us know what you're looking for. We've got a network of truly talented individuals that we would love to match you with. Our platform connects you with highly vetted freelancers who match your budget and requirements, ensuring that you find the perfect fit for your team. So reach out and let us know if you need help with growing your team. So today we have a very special guest joining us, LaShonda Brown. LaShonda is an accomplished tech educator and YouTube coach over at Bootsrap Biz Advice on YouTube, and we will link to that channel in the comments, and you should definitely go check that out. I first connected with LaShonda during a partnership call, and I was immediately impressed by her dedication to building teams and processes that empower a healthy work-life balance. Her approach to seamlessly blending high-quality content creation on YouTube with practical strategies for business owners was really inspiring, and the way she's running it all over there is it's incredible. So I'm really excited to jump into what she has to say today. LaShonda exemplifies leadership that supports both productivity, which is important, but also personal well-being. So let's dive right in to learn more about her approach to team management and remote leadership. So welcome, LaShonda. Anything I missed there? Anything you'd want to add?
No, you covered a lot of ground. I'm like, whoever that is, she sounds great.
It's you. Welcome. Awesome. Well, let's start kind of with a lot of what I see you talking about on LinkedIn and on your YouTube channel as well, and really what you have done such an incredible job of, and that is building a work environment that supports you and your lifestyle, enables you to live the life you want to live. So, how can a remote team or a team of remote contractors help accomplish that?
I think the most important thing that business owners need to consider before they start to outsource to remote workers is you have to create that framework for the business that you want to work for. You can't just expect it to happen. So, one of the things that I'm known for is the 20-hour work week. And so, for me, I go into the back end of my systems and I say, these are my parameters. This is when I'm willing to meet. These are the days that I'm willing to do certain tasks. And so before I even think about who can I delegate to, who can I get to help me to accomplish some tasks in my business, I create that framework. I create those boundaries and then start to color in between them. Another thing that I do is I take Fridays off because I understand what my bandwidth is, and so it's just important that you kind of understand what helps you to operate as your best self. And then you start to look for people that can help supplement that. If you don't do that first, what you'll find is your team members may start to dictate how you do things. And before you know it, you start working for a business that you don't want to work for. And so you have to lead first and then hire second.
I love that concept of working for a business that you don't want to work for, and that business is the one that you created for yourself, right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's so important to keep that top of mind. Absolutely. Um, that brings to mind a question I often ask on this series, which is about onboarding and bringing new hires into the fold, whether they're full-time hires, whether they're contractors. But how do you thereby communicate that framework that you've created for the business that you want to work for? How do you bring folks into that then?
So I tend to start with the things that light me up on fire because I want to make sure that people understand the vision for what I'm trying to do so that even if they feel like their contribution is mundane or monotonous, they understand how it helps the bigger picture, right? Oftentimes we outsource those things that are, tasks that are just grunt work, right? And all of those tasks are essential to the business operating well. And so if they understand, like, what's the big picture? What are we trying to do? Who are we helping? How is this changing lives? Then when you ask them to do certain tasks that might bore them to tears, they go, no, 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 no. This is a part of a bigger picture than me? And so I start with that. One of the things that I really cherish and how I operate my business is that I lead with community. So I really look for people who are multi passionate. Most of the people who work for our team have some type of creative project or even another business that they operate. And so I'm really looking for people who are experts in their own right, who can help collaborate with me rather than just work for me. I find that those folks are less likely to need to be micromanaged and they bring something to the table that enhances what I'm doing rather than just duplicates what I would have done myself. And so I communicate that early on just to get a feel for like, is this the vibe? Like, do you want to work this way? Because it's not a typical work environment. I'm not going to breathe over your neck. I really want you to contribute. But I also want to make sure that we're all going in the same direction. And so I kind of lead with that. And if we're aligned on that, then it works really well. If we're not aligned on those values, I find that even if they can do the work, they can't sustain the work. And I think that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. I love that. It's a calls back a conversation I had on the series a couple weeks ago about the importance of establishing core values and letting those lead the actions you take for your business. So yeah, absolutely. It really resonates. In terms of, bringing on the new team members and making sure you have the same vision and folks are empowered and able and skilled to do what you need them to do and that they're able to do it. Um, are there complications that come up, with folks that are running other businesses while helping you with yours? And how do you navigate those?
Yeah, I think what's very interesting is that everyone has their own take on what time management means. I would have thought it would be a more uniform perspective, but it's not, right? And so some folks are really productive at night, and my brain is mush by 3 o'clock? And so I think it's really important to really communicate with your team fairly early on, especially if they're freelancers or subcontractors, like, when do you feel like you're operating as your best self? Because some of our team members, they are not morning people. And so, as much as I love a good morning meeting so I can be done by afternoon, if they're going to be struggling to be fully engaged, well, I need to accommodate that because ultimately, like, I want us to all be operating as our best self. And so, I try to make room and make space for people to contribute in a way that is aligned with how they are as a person versus trying to pigeonhole people into a box. I think that's one of the joys of having a remote team is that you can have team members in different time zones who work at all times of the day. So I just try to find that out fairly early on because when I start to get like pushback or people are late to meetings or they seem kind of not fully clicked in, it's typically because we're having the meeting during a time where it is just not a good fit for them. And so I find myself making minor adjustments based on what I learn about people, even if they don't blatantly communicate that, so that we can all feel like we're showing up with our full selves and not, dragging our feet.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us to kind of one of the touchier subjects of building and managing a team is knowing when it's time to take someone off the team, right? When it's not working. So how many times are you able to make adjustments and and adjust your framework, right? Because you're wanting to have the business that you want to be leading and the type of work that you want to be doing. And at what point do you check in with yourself and say, all right, I've made enough adjustments and accommodations for this person. I don't think it's the right fit. How do you come to those decisions?
I'm a big fan of the 12-week year, which is a super popular business book. And, we kind of all think, 90 days at a time. We say, oh, Q1, Q2, what have you. I think a lot of times our business decisions just need a good sleep cycle before we take action on it. And so I try not, if I feel friction in my business, I try to at least give myself like one good night's rest before I change anything, because oftentimes that inner turmoil that's just coming from a lack of rest is what's making something feel like it's not working. And so I tend to give a lot of grace to people and sleep it off. But at the end of the day, after every 90 days, I sit down and I take a week to kind of reflect on my business from all different areas. And if I feel like I've encountered some friction or something's just not clicking, I've at least given it 3 months to be like, I gave it a good try, versus making an impulsive decision and saying, oh, what, they had a bad day or they missed a deadline and so they're out, because I think people forget how much time it takes to integrate a team member. And so as soon as you add one or take one away, you're going to throw your business into turmoil no matter what the circumstance, whether it's a good hire or getting rid of a bad one. And so I try not to create unnecessary volatility in my business by making rash decisions. So I find like 90 days is like a good window of time to make a decision. And then I'm able to kind of look back and say, ultimately, what it boils down to is, did that team member pay for themselves and help contribute? Did they not? And then are there interpersonal issues that maybe warrant a conversation? And that's pretty much all it comes down to.
I love that. And it takes the emotion out of it too, hopefully, right? Giving it the
Yeah.
kind of the grace of time to reflect on it and then come to a decision and have the sometimes tough conversation with them. But it's the fair thing to do as well, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about um, hiring in general. When do you say to yourself, or how do you know when it's time to bring someone else on? Um, Obviously, it can be when someone you've worked with in the past doesn't have time to help you with a project you need help on, or maybe it's a recurring need that you're saying, "Hey, I need someone to handle this part of the business, and it can't be me." How do you determine when it's time to bring on some extra help, and then how do you determine if that's someone that you want working on a fixed schedule as an internal team member, or it's someone that can do it kind of as a freelancer, subcontractor kind of position?
So some folks may not like my answer, but in a way, the last time, like, you really shouldn't wait until you absolutely need to hire, right? Because there is that window of time of onboarding, of testing people out, of training people. And, I've been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, and I remember times where, I waited to the last minute to try to find another camera operator or to find a gaffer for a set. And I'm like, I wish I just had my little pool of people I could call on. And now I'm causing all this unnecessary stress because I waited until the last minute. And so I think what's super important is for you to forecast as much as you can in your business. Like, you should see it coming. I mean, at least a month in advance, right? You could say, okay, I invoice a client to do this task. I don't want to do this part of it, so I'm going to need to hire. And so when that happens in your business and you give yourself, that window of time, then you're able to say, okay, now I don't have to be stressed about just finding someone. I can find the best one for the job. So in your business, you've got to forecast, you've got to kind of see things coming and give yourself enough of a window so you're not frantically looking for a team member. And I always try to bring people on initially on a project to make sure like they're a good fit. I don't hire just on resume, because resumes are not real people. Resumes are the best versions of themselves. And so it's like, okay, let me test this out, make sure it's a good fit for you and a good fit for me. And then maybe we can discuss something ongoing.
I love that. I was recently speaking to one of the freelancers in the Quickly Hire network, and feeling them out and getting to know them, because sometimes I like to just jump on and know who's in the network because we have so many folks in there now. And they were amazing talking to them face to face. I was like, wow, this person is truly incredible. And then I went and looked at their resume and it was also great, but I would not, maybe I wouldn't have, reached out to talk to them just looking at the resume. But when I saw the resume and the work samples and also knew them after speaking with them directly, it was like the complete package, right? So it's so important to get to know the person as well. I love that you mentioned that. And you also mentioned gaffers and video kind of language. So I'd love to touch on that. So you create incredible video content, LaShonda. I've watched your YouTube videos over at Bootstrap Biz Advice, and you have another production company as well. So you leverage and use YouTube for your business, Bootstrap Biz Advice. How do remote team members support those efforts and that work that you do?
I think one of my favorite collaborations with a team member is my Pomodoro timer videos. I absolutely love that technique for helping you to stay focused while you're working. And so, my graphic designer is a remote worker, and once a quarter, he actually creates a brand new Pomodoro timer video for me that I post on my channel so that when I play it, I get the views, but it's also a tool for my audience. And so, we created the framework for it. And, I just simply say, hey, Sam, ready for some new music. I played the last one out. Can you make me a new one? And so then he's able to go and select 2 hours of lo-fi music, select footage for the visual breaks, and then he just sends it to me. And so it's like, not only did he make a video that I had very little to do with because we created that template, it's almost like I'm getting the benefit of his hard work every day. And what he created is helping me be more productive. And it's kind of feeding that engine. And so, like, that's a really cool collaboration that I've had with someone on my team who we rarely see face to face, but he's very much a part of what I do every day.
I love that, and we'll share the link to that Pomodoro video as well because I'm going to go check it out after this. Absolutely, because it sounds like it's going to be helpful. And I love that
Yeah,
you
I use it literally every day. I kid you not.
that's fantastic. And I love that you have templates and processes in place as well because it just for things like that, right? It makes it so easy for you to be able to say, hey Sam, I think is what you said the name was, right? Hey Sam, can you make a new video? We have the template in place. I need something new music, new visuals, and they're able to just throw it together and it's exactly what you want. So I love that as well. How much do you rely on processes, templates, things like that that you've maybe put in place yourself, and then delegate to members on your team? Is that a big part of your team management, or is it not something that you rely on a lot of?
Yeah, I think you have to have a healthy balance. I see this a lot with a lot of folks in the online marketing space where I think they over templatize their business to the point where it looks robotic. And so I have a balance. There are certain things, obviously, we have templates for every video, and that way we can delegate tasks, put deadlines, and all of that. But when it comes down to maybe sponsored content, I want the team to feel that they can be creative, that they can be out of the box. So certain things are very formulaic because we've watched the data, we've tested it, we've tried it. One of the things that we do every year is the 25 days of Canva. I'm a Canva verified expert. And so every year I kind of take a look back on the new feature rollouts and I create 25 tutorials in 25 days. Well, in order to pull that off at the production level that we do, you have to have a system. And it's not like every video is a brand new format. But because we have that format, we can, systematically go through and okay, there's one day where I've got my makeup done, I've got my shirt on, I've got snacks. And for that day, it's intros and outros for 25 videos. And then that's a part. And then I do the screen recording, and then that's a part. And someone does color, and someone does audio, and someone does SEO. And before you know it, we can pull that off. But you cannot pull off what I am able to accomplish on my channel with one person. The power of that channel is the power of our team.
I love that. And we're coming up on time here, but I'd love to kind of close this out. I know there's a lot of folks in our community that want to do more on YouTube and understand the power of YouTube. but maybe don't know where to get started, right? What would your advice be to those people?
So I get this question a lot, and because it can be overwhelming, one of the things that I do as just like a gift to my community is every month I do a free YouTube workshop. And I actually leave the replays up for people to go back and register. And so I kind of take a look at what are some of the things that I'm getting in my comments? What are people asking me in the DMs, sending me emails? And so we tackle questions like, how long should the videos be? How to get your first 1,000 subscribers, how to increase your watch time. And so, what I'm able to do is really address those pain points every single month. And then you can go back on your own time and check one out if you miss it. And so, I will say there are a lot of YouTubers teaching YouTube on YouTube. So, you can obviously search for it. But I do try to make it easy to find on my website so that if you are even trying to figure out if it's a good fit, I also have a YouTube passive income guide that's a really helpful 16-page resource that kind of helps you to understand what are you getting yourself into before you agree to start publishing on that platform.
Awesome. And I'll see if we can get the link for those guides and that help and everything. We can share those out in an email after this so folks can have access to it or reach out to you. Where's the best place for folks to find you, LaShonda?
Yeah, if you go to LaShondaBrown.com, that's my home base for everything. And so that will show you all the free resources, help you find, different tutorials that I've made. I say tutorials are my love language, so that's the predominant thing you're going to see on my channel.
Awesome. Thank you so much, LaShonda. Is there anything we didn't touch on that you were hoping we would, that you wanted to talk about?
I just think that at the end of the day, YouTube is an extremely powerful tool to help you to market your business online. And so if you are feeling like, oh, I can't tackle YouTube because I'm not a filmmaker, I will honestly say that you can outsource different aspects of your channel to remote workers and really thrive on YouTube. So give it a chance, even if you yourself can't do all the parts involved to make that happen.
Absolutely. I love that advice. I think it's great. I always say that, right? If there's something you want to do, but you're not the expert in it, hire somebody. It's
Yeah.
not magic. There's people out there that want to do that for you and help you with it. So thank you so much, LaShonda, for your time today and sharing your wisdom and knowledge and expertise and being so generous with that. We really appreciate it. And we will be back again next week with another Remote Leadership Unleashed. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified. If you're watching on LinkedIn, make sure to like our page so you'll get those notifications. And we will be back next week with another. LaShonda, thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning in and watching this.
You're so welcome. You guys have a great rest of your day.